welcome to the channel if you're new, or if you're not, I'm Alicia and I am stoked you're here either way. It is back to school time, so I know a lot of you are on the hunt for meal prep recipes, especially breakfast for quick mornings. The truth is, my feelings about meal prep have shifted a lot over the years. I did it for a long time, and for a long time it helped, but it became very daunting. And so my approach to meal prep has changed to be more sustainable. Part of the reason that meal prep does not stress me out now is that I found ways to meal prep without using specific recipes, which means I can use leftover ingredients, I can be flexible with leftover food, and I spend way less time planning. So today I have got some meal preppable breakfast options, but I'm gonna show you how to make them flexibly without a specific recipe. Don't be afraid, it is going to make your meal prep far more sustainable, I promise. My first go-to breakfast meal prep is an egg casserole. I have shared this on Instagram many times. The base is just eggs and mix-ins like veggies. I love this because I can use whatever I have left over from last week, any raw or cooked vegetables. This week I've got asparagus, mushrooms, and bell peppers. I can use these raw, but I love to saute them first. I get oil and onion in a pan and then add in my mushrooms and let those reduce a bit. Then the asparagus for a few more minutes, mine were pretty big, and then finally the bell peppers can go in last since I know that those take the least amount of time. I think sauteing adds a nice flavor and improves the texture, but if I'm in a pinch, sometimes I'll just throw in the veggies raw. It is going to be baked after all. That gets added into my casserole dish, which I spray or oil down. You can also add any additional protein to this or not. So it could be an open can of beans, maybe they're left over, or it could be cooked meat, raw meat that I can cook up, and it could also be breakfast sausage or bacon like I showed in my keto casserole a while ago. But it could also just be chicken or beef. I am not adding any protein this week. It is going to be vegetarian. For the eggs, I have got whatever I've got. So I've done this with 7, 8, 9, 12 eggs. It can be whole eggs. Sometimes if I have a carton of egg whites, I'll add some of that. And I like to add a splash of milk or cream, dairy or not, and the amount, it doesn't really matter either. And salt and pep. In the PDF download in the description, which is free, I have given these base recipes to show my recommended ratio amounts, but the beauty of these meals is you don't need to stick to any of them exactly. They're really flexible. That all gets whisked and then put on top of my veggies in the casserole dish. If you want to add a cooked protein like we talked about, now is the time to just throw that on top of the vegetables. And finally, finish it off with cheese if you want. I went with feta today, but sometimes I do goat cheese or Gruyere or cheddar, and I add as much as I want, no rules. This goes into the oven to bake, and now it may take anywhere from 30 minutes up to 45 depending on your oven, your ingredients, how many eggs you use, etc. But it's not a big deal. You just check on it, and when it's not liquidy anymore, it's done. It lasts all week in the fridge, and it can be frozen. This flexible approach keeps me going because I know I can use whatever I already have left over or whatever is on sale without depending on specific ingredients. I can change up the flavors every single week for more variety, and if I'm short an egg or two or if I have an extra, it's fine, it'll work. Why? Because heat cooks food. You apply enough heat for enough time and the food will cook. How and where you get the heat can change, whether it's in the oven or on a stove or grill. This is a concept that I drive home in my kitchen confidence course where I teach you to cook without recipes. I have videos showing you pretty much every protein, grain, vegetable method you could imagine, and I teach how to pair flavors and use seasonings without having to think so much. There's easy homework, which is very interactive and forces you to get in the kitchen and find your confidence. We open up twice a year for enrollment. We are open this week for another day or two, and then we are closed until 2021. So if you want to work on your kitchen confidence skills, check it out at kitchenconfidence.com now before it's gone for the year. Everyone who wants to get better at meal prep, I always suggest first getting more confident in the kitchen because then you will feel better about making decisions and learning to be flexible, which is key for sustainable meal prep. Okay, let's move on to some more easy recipe-less meal prepping. Overnight oats. All you really need for overnight oats is oats and milk of choice, dairy or not. Start with equal parts and adjust based on what you like. So if you like it thicker, add less milk, and if you like the mixture thinner, add more milk. The rest is up to you, and it's easy to diversify. I can make it cinnamon raisin by adding cinnamon and raisins and maybe some chia seeds for added nutritional boost and texture. And in another, I can add a spoonful of yogurt and berries. You can get creative and customized based on what you like and whether you add the mix-ins before refrigerating or as toppings the day that you enjoy. There is no right or wrong, and if you're afraid to not have a recipe, I understand the fear, but it is going to make it harder to embrace meal prep. If you're willing to experiment and find what you like, it will keep things so much more sustainable and easy breezy, stress-free. Another easy meal preppable option that many don't realize does not require a recipe: energy balls. Say what? Recipe development is not that mysterious, I promise. All you need for this is oats, any mix-ins you want, so this could be dried fruit, nuts, seeds, coconut flakes, chocolate chips, whatever your heart desires, and nut butter of choice. Perhaps some honey if desired for sweetness. So start with a 2-to-1 ratio or so of dry to wet. I get oats and mix-ins in as my dry. Today I went with pumpkin seeds, raisins, and mini chocolate chips. And then I add in the nut butter, which is going to bind it all. I think the honey also helps to bind and sweeten, but it's not necessary. And then it's just a little bit of a game of paying attention to texture. So if it doesn't hold together, add more nut butter to bind. If it's too sticky, add more oats or dry mix-ins. Once you can manipulate it with your hands, it's ready. That's it. Just roll it into balls, and that is it. There are no secrets here. Recipes can help because they're supposed to take the guesswork out of cooking. But how many times have you tried a recipe and something about it just doesn't work? This doesn't mean the person who made the recipe is lying to you. It worked for them, but there are so many factors. Their specific ingredients will bind differently than yours. Their peanut butter will have more or less oil. Their oats may absorb more liquid. Their humidity may affect the process. Whatever it is, it serves you to feel confident in making the call. And when you can do that, a recipe can become a guideline that helps support you rather than a stressful task list. Smoothies are another meal that I never use a recipe for, even for meal prep. For preppable smoothies in bags or jars, I just combine greens and frozen fruit like mango. That can get frozen as is without the liquid. Greens can freeze and it won't really affect the texture of the smoothie, and this is also a great thing to do if you've got greens that are on the way out. When I want to enjoy the smoothie, I thaw out the components for about 5 minutes, add them to a blender, and then add liquid. I don't really measure, but it's about a 2-to-1 ratio of frozen fruit to liquid. That liquid could be milk, water, juice, coconut water. Get creative and keep it versatile. Use what you have, change up the flavor. This is how meal prep doesn't drain me, because it doesn't have to be so boring or rigid or stressful. Add less liquid to start and blend, and if you need more, you can add more. Do it until you get the texture that you want to enjoy. That's it. You can of course expand on this to make it even more flavorful and fun. Let's say you want a strawberry cheesecake smoothie, no recipe required. I've got frozen strawberries as my base and milk as my liquid. For creaminess, I add a bit of yogurt and of course, cream cheese for the cheesecake factor. Honey helps to sweeten, and then I just get the texture down by adjusting the liquid as I blend. When this isn't for breakfast, or even some days if it is, I'll top it off with a little bit of whipped cream and a graham cracker for a real cheesecake feel. And there you go. That is a recipe-less strawberry cheesecake smoothie brought to you by my kitchen confidence. Get yours today. Seriously, kitchenconfidence.com. One more to go. This one is just for fun, parfait popsicles. It's yogurt, granola, and fresh or frozen berries. Whether you are trying to use up leftover yogurt or actually want to make popsicles, there is no recipe required here. We're just mixing the 3 ingredients together, and in terms of ratio, we really want enough yogurt to hold it all together. So more yogurt than granola or berries. Add honey to sweeten if you want, and be sure to taste as you go to get it just right for you. Distribute that into molds. Freeze, and boom, you got breakfast in a popsicle. So these are just a couple of ideas for keeping breakfast easy, prepped, sustainable, and versatile. It can be done, but the key is being willing to trust yourself. To get started, I've got the PDF with these base recipes and ratio recommendations. I am not asking you to trust yourself blindly, but to really learn a couple of kitchen basics that will give you the confidence to make things up as you go. This is freeing when it comes to meal prep and keeping health easy. If you want to sign up for my course, you've got 1 or 2 days left. If you don't want to sign up, that's totally fine. I am going to keep sharing videos here every single week, and be sure to subscribe and hit the bell. I appreciate you being here. I will see you next week, and remember, it's all a matter of mind over munch.